Hey everybody, it's me, Rebecca, here with another Learn Flute podcast today. And in this episode, number 46, we'll be having a quick little chat all centered around the mystery of the flute end cap. And does it really have a purpose?
You can do it, and Rebecca will show you how, step by step all along the way. Introducing the Learn Flute podcast.
Well, hello to all you flute learners out there in podcast land. Wherever you may be listening to this, I hope you're enjoying your day and that you're also having an inspired life. Again, I will introduce myself in case you're just joining us for this new episode as maybe your first time. My name is Rebecca Fuller, and I'm the owner and instructor at LearnFluteOnline.com, where I teach people just like you how to play the flute really well. Now, I always add the words really well at the end of that sentence because I think anyone can pick up a flute and wiggle their fingers around when trying to blow. They might call that playing the flute, but it takes a special person and quite a bit of inside knowledge to really learn how to play it and sound super great. Now, since you're listening to this podcast, I can assume that you are either already learning how to play the flute or that you want to play the flute, or it's possible that you've only heard some really great flute playing before and are aspiring to get going soon. In this podcast, I'd like to take a little bit of a random approach to answering questions you might be having in an audio format. Now, of course, over on the website learnfluteonline.com, all of the lessons are done either via video, articles, PDF, MP3, or even live video webinar type format. Technology is awesome, and I intend to use all of it to help you great people really be able to learn well. I didn't have such a great start myself in my first few years of learning because I lived in a very rural area and there was only so much that was available to me. But now, as far as I know, you could be sitting on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean somewhere listening to me and learning with a super smile on your face because, boy, that just sounds fun. Well, anyway, today we're going to be having a quick chat all centered around that tiny little end cap that's at the very top of your head joint on your flute. And you might think it's kind of interesting that I would center an entire audio all around this, but it's actually quite important. Now, perhaps you've already heard me talk about it before, and today we're going to get a little more in depth. First of all, I guess I should mention that some people call this little end cap a crown. So if you also hear it mentioned in the future as the crown to your flute and on your head joint, then you'll know that I'm talking about the same thing here when I call it an end cap. I just like the terminology end cap better because of the obvious reason that it's on the end of your head joint and it caps off the tube. Well, I'm going to go straight to the heart of what I wanted to say now, and that is that it is best to not mess with the end cap. Now, what I mean by this is that you shouldn't be twisting it casually, ever. Now, I know that sometimes it just gets loose by itself, and I've talked to many younger students especially who say it just falls off by itself all the time. Well, let's hope that it's not really the case because this end cap is connected to the long screw-like rod it's also attached to the metal plate that is glued to the cork inside the top of your head joint. Now, that cork is responsible for quite a bit of your good or bad tone. Now, I say good or bad because it's true. If your cork is old, it will be shrinking. Now, especially if you live in a drier climate or your flute is just really old. Corks just get a little bit aged. Anywhere from, I would say, 4 to 8 years, kind of depending on the flute. And what happens when your cork dries a little bit is that some air is allowed to escape. And it only takes a very, very tiny bit to make a big, huge difference in your tone. Now, I think we've talked about this before, but I wanted to make sure that this was something that you've heard enough times that you take it seriously. I've actually seen people take the little end cap all the way off before and lose it. and that causes a really big problem with your cork and how it can just get dried out so quickly. Now, another problem we have with the shrinking cork is that it tends to move a little bit inside your head joint, especially if when you're swabbing out your head joint to get all the spit out of there with a tuning rod. Sometimes we flute players get in a little bit of a hurry and we might be pushing too hard as we jam that cleaning cloth in there and twist it around and pull it out again. We could accidentally move that cork a little more towards the top of our head joint, and this would cause us to play a little bit more out of tune every single time it happens. Now, no matter what skill level or other things we're doing to try to play well, so we would just be off tune a little bit more each time. So since we would have pushed the cork towards the top of the head joint, this would actually make our pitch be a little bit under the correct intonation pitch, which means basically that we would be flat. And a flat flute player is just kind of drab sounding. Now, you probably have heard that before, whether it was someone else or perhaps it was yourself. It's just not very pretty at all. It's important that you keep your flute in as new of condition as possible. Think about this as your flute's health. It's kind of like this is your flute's head. We have to take care of it. You occasionally will need to give it a checkup. In fact, every single time you take your flute out to play, you should be giving it a quick once over. A quick little glance only just takes 2 seconds. Touch the end cap just to make sure it's not wiggling, but don't twist it. Always, if it is wiggling and twisty, then go ahead and just move it until it stops and leave it there. If you remember in another episode, I talked to you about cranking it down and that will actually push the cork in a different position, and untwisting it in like the lefty-loosey style will actually move your cork out in a different position. I wish there was a better way to make sure that that end cap didn't do anything at all, but it's just inevitable after time. Now, if you're one of those people who likes to get a little bit OCD about exactly where the cork should be, which is okay to get that way, I'm going to give you a measurement right now. Take the end of your cleaning rod and look at it. Note where the little groove is, and depending on your brand of tuning rod, you might have more than one little groove. But the little groove that we're talking about here is the one that's at the very end, almost at the end of your cleaning rod. You know, on the opposite side from where you loop the cloth through the little eye hole. Well, anyway, that little line on the opposite end should be exactly 17.3 millimeters from the end of the rod. Now, perhaps you have a ruler nearby right now and you can even check it out. It would be interesting to find out if there are any discrepancies out there amongst the different tuning rods. There are different brands, and it should be pretty precise all the way through all of the different brands of flutes and tuning rods. 17.3 is standard. Now, if you find out that your cork is not in the correct position, then the first best idea is to have someone who knows what they're doing help you fix it. So again, it's really important that this cork be in the exact right spot. And I guess I should mention here that this cork is encased between 2 metal plates. So don't get worried if you can't actually see that light tan brown cork in there. You won't be able to see it unless it's all the way out of your head joint, which I definitely hope it's not. So again, I say that the first idea is to get a technician to help you. It's very, very simple for them to replace the cork if needed and to put it back in the most perfect spot. They can also then check your little end cap, the crown, and make sure that it doesn't have any problems within the grooves that's making it come loose too often. Now, if your flute is older and then you have the cork replaced, it's possible that your tone will improve magically all by itself just with this one simple idea. Now, wouldn't that be great? Well, well, thanks again. That was just a quick chat. We can be more thorough and talking about a little bit more in depth about this on another time. Thanks for joining us here today for some additional training and things that will be helping you on your quest to become a much better flute player. For many of you, this playing the flute is a bucket list item, and you have no idea how happy it makes me to realize that I am part of your dream. I'm here for you, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have in regards to learning how to play the flute. And add this and play it well. Don't forget to hop on over to learnfluteonline.com if you're not there already in the lesson course membership area and take a video lesson today in one of the modules. The skills you learn from me will help you along your journey and make things so much easier. Now, learning how to play the flute should be enjoyable, fun, and an exciting little challenge that will enhance your life as well as your family and your friends' lives as well. Please leave any comments or questions in the comment section here, and don't forget to have an absolutely beautiful day.
Thanks for listening today. Remember that this is where people of all ages, such as you, can come, learn, and play the musical instrument flute in an easy-to-follow, organized manner, and in the privacy and comfort of your own home, on your own schedule.